Commander Jake Morrison walked through the long hallway of the council station. His boots made soft sounds on the metal floor. He had been to this place many times before, but today felt different. The alien delegates, who usually greeted him with friendly gestures, now looked away when he passed. Something was wrong. Jake reached the main chamber where Admiral Lisa Bennett was waiting. She stood near the large window that showed the stars beyond. Her face was tight with worry. When she saw Jake, she handed him a data pad without saying hello. "Read this," Lisa said quietly. Jake looked at the message on the screen. It was from High Chancellor Vorath, the leader of the council. The message talked about an ancient enemy called the Void Seekers. According to Vorath, this enemy had returned and threatened every species in the galaxy. The council needed all member species to send their military forces to fight this threat. Every single ship, every soldier. No exceptions, they want our entire fleet? Jake asked, looking up from the pad. Lisa nodded. Every warship we have. They say it's the only way to stop the Void Seekers before they destroy everything. Jake felt uneasy. Humanity had been part of the Galactic Council for 20 years. In that time, Earth had sent resources, shared technology, and fought alongside alien species to keep peace. They had earned respect. But asking for every ship seemed extreme. "What does Earth Command say?" Jake asked. "They're debating it now," Lisa replied. "But the Council is putting pressure on them. They say any species that doesn't contribute fully will be considered enemies of the galaxy." 3 days later, Captain Ryan Clark stood on the bridge of his ship, the USS Valiant. Behind him, through the viewscreen, he could see hundreds of other human vessels. 300 ships in total. It was Earth's entire defensive fleet, except for some small patrol boats and training vessels left behind. Ryan's hands gripped the command chair as he watched the massive gateway structure ahead. The gateway would transport them instantly to the Outer Rim, where the battle against the Void Seekers would take place, or so they had been told. "All ships report ready, Captain," said his second officer, Lieutenant Megan Torres. Ryan took a deep breath. His wife, Kate Morrison, worked at Earth's Strategic Defense Headquarters. Before he left, she had hugged him tightly and made him promise to be careful. She had a bad feeling about this mission, she said. Ryan had laughed it off then. Now he wondered if she was right. "Take us through," Ryan ordered. The gateway activated with a brilliant flash of blue light. One by one, the human ships entered and disappeared. The USS Valiant was near the front of the formation. Ryan felt the strange pulling sensation as his ship passed through the gateway. Space twisted around them. Colors that didn't exist filled his vision. Then everything went dark for a moment. When his vision cleared, Ryan looked at the viewscreen expecting to see the Outer Rim. Instead, he saw nothing. Empty space. No stars, no planets, no station, nothing. "Where are we?" Ryan demanded. Lieutenant Torres worked frantically at her console. "Unknown sector, Captain. The navigation system doesn't recognize any stellar markers. I don't know where we are." "Contact the other ships," Ryan said. "Get me a status report." As his crew worked, Ryan felt cold fear settling in his chest. Something had gone very wrong. Back at the gateway, the last few human ships were preparing to enter when something happened. The gateway suddenly collapsed. The massive structure that had stood there for thousands of years simply stopped working. The remaining ships tried to reactivate it, but nothing happened. The gateway was dead. On Earth, Kate Morrison sat in the Strategic Defense Command Center, watching the data streams from the fleet. She was a doctor of physics, specializing in quantum mechanics and gateway technology. She had been monitoring the fleet's transit when she noticed something strange in the energy readings. "Pull up the gateway telemetry from the last 30 seconds, Kate said to the technician beside her. The data appeared on her screen. Kate's eyes went wide as she studied it. The energy signature was all wrong. The gateway hadn't malfunctioned. Someone had deliberately changed its destination coordinates. The fleet hadn't gone to the Outer Rim. They had been sent somewhere else. Somewhere far away. "Oh no," Kate whispered. "They've been trapped." Before she could alert anyone, every alarm in the command center started blaring. Red lights flashed across every console. The technician next to Kate shouted in panic, "Ma'am, the defense satellites! They're shutting down!" Kate looked at the tactical display. Earth's orbital defense network was going offline, one satellite after another. It wasn't a malfunction. Someone was using Council override codes to disable them. "This is impossible," the technician said. Those codes are supposed to be for emergency situations only. Why would the Council— He never finished his sentence. The long-range sensors detected something that made everyone in the room go silent. Ships were appearing throughout the solar system. Thousands of them. They had been hiding in stealth mode, waiting. General Chris Wade burst into the command center, his uniform still half-fastened. "Report!" he barked. Kate turned to face him, her voice shaking. "General, we've been betrayed. The Council sent our fleet away and disabled our defenses. There are 12,000 hostile ships entering the solar system right now." Wade's face went pale. "How many ships do we have left?" "Maybe 500 combat-capable vessels," Kate said. "Mostly small frigates and patrol boats. Nothing that can stand against a Council battle fleet." On the Council station, Ambassador Nicole Harper sat in a small room where security guards had locked her. They said it was for her protection during an emergency, but Nicole knew better. Through the small window in the door, she could see Council delegates walking past. They were celebrating something. One delegate, a tall insectoid creature, stopped near her door. He was talking to another alien in their language. Nicole's translator implant caught pieces of their conversation. "The human problem is solved. Their fleet will never find their way back. Earth's resources will be divided as planned." Nicole felt sick. She pounded on the door, screaming for someone to listen, but no one came. Earth was under attack. Their fleet was lost, and she was trapped here, helpless. In the empty sector of space where the fleet had emerged, Captain Ryan Clark was receiving the same terrible news. A quantum burst transmission had made it through from Earth, though it was weak and breaking up. Kate's voice came through the static. "Ryan, under attack, betrayed, 12,000 ships. Hold 2 weeks, maybe. Love you." Then silence. Ryan stood frozen on his bridge. Around him, his crew stared in shock. They were months away from Earth at sublight speed. Their families, their planet, everything they loved was being invaded, and they could do nothing, Captain, Lieutenant Torres said quietly. "What are our orders?" Ryan looked at the view screen, at the empty darkness that surrounded them. Somewhere out there, Earth was fighting for survival. His wife was there. His children. Millions of innocent people who trusted their military to protect them. "Get me every captain in the fleet," Ryan said, his voice hard as steel. "We're finding a way home. I don't care if it's impossible. We're going to save Earth or we'll die trying." The Council fleet moved through Earth's solar system like a swarm of metal insects. Admiral Krath, a massive reptilian creature from the Vorketh Empire, watched Earth on his command screen with satisfaction. The blue planet looked so peaceful, so defenseless. Soon it would belong to the Council. "Send the ultimatum," Krath ordered. The message went out to every communication device on Earth. It was simple and brutal. Humanity had 24 hours to surrender completely. They would give up all their resources, especially their fusion technology and rare minerals. Humans would become workers for the Council species. Their freedom was over. If they refused, the Council would destroy every city, every base, everything. In the underground command bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Chris Wade listened to the ultimatum with a grim expression. Around him, officers and scientists waited for his orders. The general was a short man with gray hair and tired eyes. He had fought in 3 wars before this. He knew what defeat looked like. But he also knew that sometimes the fight mattered more than the odds. "How many ships do we have?" Wade asked. A young officer checked her console. 512 vessels, sir. Most are frigates and patrol boats. We have maybe 20 destroyers. Nothing bigger." "Against 12,000 Council warships," Wade said quietly. "Anyone have any good news?" Kate Morrison stepped forward. She had barely slept since the fleet disappeared. Her husband Ryan was lost somewhere in space, and Earth was about to be invaded. But she couldn't give up. She wouldn't. "General, I need to show you something," Kate said. "Something the Council doesn't know about." She pulled up files on the main screen. They were classified at the highest level. Even most of Earth's government didn't know these projects existed. When we joined the Council 20 years ago, some people in our military didn't trust them, Kate explained. They started secret weapons programs, projects that used human thinking instead of copied alien technology. I helped design some of them. Wade leaned forward, interested. "What kind of weapons?" Kate showed him the first file. "Kinetic kill missiles. They accelerate to near light speed using our own engine designs. The Council's shields can't stop them because they're not energy weapons. Just pure mass and velocity. She showed him another file. Quantum communication systems. The Council can jam our normal radios, but these use entangled particles. Impossible to block or intercept. Then she showed him the big one. And this is the Hellfire Protocol. 20 years ago, we built 300 antimatter mines and hid them throughout the solar system. They've been waiting all this time. The Council has no idea they exist. Wade stared at the screen. You built antimatter mines without telling anyone? Some people knew, Kate said. But it was kept quiet. The Council might have spies. We couldn't risk them finding out. Wade slowly smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. It was the smile of a man who just found a way to hurt his enemy. How do we activate these mines? I can do it from here, Kate said. The Council fleet is moving into attack formation around Earth. They're getting close to the mine locations. If we wait until they're in position, do it, Wade ordered. Meanwhile, across Earth, Lieutenant Commander Amy Foster was helping millions of people evacuate to underground cities. These weren't just simple bomb shelters. They were massive complexes built over decades, starting from old Cold War bunkers and expanded after humanity met aliens. Entire cities existed underground with farms, water systems, and living space for hundreds of millions of people. Amy watched as families hurried into the elevator shafts that would take them deep below the surface. Children cried. Parents tried to stay calm. Old people moved slowly. It broke her heart, but Amy kept her face strong. People needed to see confidence, not fear. Keep moving, Amy called out. We have room for everyone. Don't panic. A mother with 2 small children stopped near Amy. Are we going to die? The woman asked. Amy knelt down and looked the children in the eyes. Do you know what makes humans special? She asked them. We don't give up, ever. Those bad aliens think they can beat us, but they don't know how tough we really are. You're going to be safe down below, and when you come back up, Earth will still be here. I promise. The children nodded, and the mother gave Amy a grateful look before hurrying on. Amy watched them go, hoping she hadn't just lied to those kids. Back in orbit, Admiral Krath was growing impatient. 12 hours had passed since the ultimatum, and Earth hadn't responded. The Council fleet had finished positioning itself around the planet. Battleships surrounded Earth like a net. Cruisers covered the moon. Smaller ships blocked escape routes. It was perfect. Have the humans responded? Krath asked. Negative, Admiral, his communications officer reported. They remained silent. Krath's tail twitched in annoyance. Then we'll make them talk. Target their defense satellites. Destroy them all. The Council fleet opened fire. Earth's defense satellites exploded one by one, lighting up the orbital space with brief flashes. It was almost beautiful in a terrible way. Within minutes, every satellite was gone. Earth had no orbital defenses left. Good, Krath said. Now scan the planet. Find their military bases. We'll demonstrate what happens to species who defy the Council. In the command bunker, General Wade watched the satellites die. Each one represented millions of dollars and years of work. But they were just metal and circuits. They could be rebuilt. People couldn't. Sir, the Council fleet is moving into final attack position, an officer reported. Wade looked at Kate. Are they where you need them? Kate checked her screen. The Council ships had spread out across the solar system, covering all approaches to Earth. They were close to almost every hidden mine. It was perfect. They're in position, Kate said. Wade took a deep breath. This was it. Earth's first real strike in this war. If it didn't work, they had nothing else. If it did work, well, they'd still probably lose, but at least they'd make the Council remember this day. Activate the Hellfire Protocol, Wade ordered. Kate's fingers flew across her console. Commands went out through quantum channels that the Council couldn't detect. All across the solar system, 300 antimatter mines received their orders. They had waited 20 years for this moment. The mines activated simultaneously. Antimatter is the most powerful explosive possible in nature. When antimatter touches regular matter, both are destroyed completely, converting all their mass into pure energy. Each mine contained enough antimatter to destroy a small moon. The explosions lit up space like new stars being born. Council ships that were near the mines simply vanished, turned to atoms in microseconds. The shockwaves from the blasts threw other ships around like toys. Some crashed into each other. Some spun out of control into planets or moons. Some just broke apart from the stress. In the span of 5 seconds, 2,000 Council warships were destroyed. On his command ship, Admiral Krath was thrown from his chair as a nearby mine detonated. His ship's shields held barely, but the vessel next to his wasn't so lucky. Krath watched in horror as the battleship exploded. "Report!" Krath roared. "Massive explosions throughout the fleet," his officer screamed. "We've lost contact with the 2nd, 5th, and 7th battle groups. Casualties are... Sir, we've lost at least 2,000 ships." Krath couldn't believe it. 2,000 ships? In seconds? How? Earth wasn't supposed to have weapons like this. Their technology was inferior. They were weak. "Find out what happened," Krath demanded. "How did they—" He never finished. General Wade's response came through every communication channel. "Attention, Council Fleet. This is General Chris Wade of Earth Defense Command. You came to our home. You threatened our families. You thought we were weak. You were wrong. This is just the beginning. Leave now or we'll destroy every single one of your ships. This is your only warning." Admiral Krath's face twisted with rage. "All ships begin orbital bombardment. I want every human city burning within the hour." The Council fleet, now down to 10,000 ships, opened fire on Earth. Energy beams and missiles rained down on the planet's surface. Cities exploded in flames, or at least that's what it looked like. But underground, General Wade smiled. The Council was wasting ammunition on empty buildings. Every human was already safely hidden below. Every shot they fired was one less they could use later. "Let them waste their anger," Wade said. "We're going to need every advantage we can get." The battle for Earth had truly begun. Captain Ryan Clark floated in the observation room of the USS Valiant, staring at the empty darkness outside. 3 days had passed since they arrived in this nowhere place. 3 days since the message from Earth saying they were under attack. 3 days of feeling completely helpless. Behind him, the door opened. Lieutenant Megan Torres entered carrying a data pad. Her face showed the same exhaustion everyone felt. Nobody had slept much. "Captain, you need to see this," Megan said. Ryan took the pad. On it was another quantum burst message from Earth. The signal was weak and took hours to arrive, but it was there. Kate's voice came through, broken and unclear. "Ryan, experimental gateway. Research station. Coordinates attached. Dangerous. 40% survival. Only chance. Hurry. Earth can't..." 2 weeks, the message cut off. Ryan played it 3 more times, trying to catch every word. His wife was telling him about some kind of experimental gateway. A way home. But 40% survival rate? That meant 60% would die. "Gather all the captains," Ryan said. "Conference call, now." Within an hour, 300 ship captains were connected through quantum comm links. Their faces filled Ryan's screen. Some looked angry. Some looked scared. All of them looked determined. "You've all heard the message," Ryan began. "Earth is under attack. We were betrayed and trapped out here, but my wife, Dr. Kate Morrison, has found a possible way home. There's an experimental gateway at a research station 3 days from here. It's never been tested with ships. The survival rate is estimated at 40%. The screen filled with voices talking at once. Ryan waited for them to quiet down. Captain Danny Pierce spoke up. He was the fleet's chief engineer, a big man with oil-stained hands. 40% means we'll lose more than half the fleet. That's almost 200 ships. "I know," Ryan said quietly. "But if we don't go, Earth loses everything," another captain said. "Our families are there. Our world. We didn't come out here to hide. Going through that gateway could kill us all," a different captain argued. "We might not save Earth, we might just die for nothing." Ryan looked at all their faces on his screen. "I'm not ordering anyone to come. This is a volunteer mission. If you want to stay here, find a safe planet, wait this out. I understand. No one will judge you. But I'm going through that gateway. Earth needs us. I'm going home or dying in the attempt." The screen went quiet. Then one by one, every single captain said the same thing. "I'm in. Count me in, Captain. We're with you. Let's go home." Ryan felt his throat tighten with emotion. 300 ships. 300 captains. Not one of them chose safety. This was humanity. This was why they'd survive. "Then let's move," Ryan said. "Maximum speed to those coordinates. Transfer all non-essential power to engines. We're going to push these ships harder than they were designed for." The fleet burned through space at speeds that made their reactors scream in protest. Ships that couldn't keep up started falling behind. These were mostly older vessels with damaged engines. Their captains made a hard choice. Valiant, this is Captain Luis Martinez on the USS Portland. A voice came through Ryan's comm. Our reactor can't maintain this speed. We're going to transfer our crew to other ships and cannibalize our vessel for parts and fuel. The other slow ships are doing the same. Ryan closed his eyes. These captains were sacrificing their commands to give the fleet a better chance. Understood, Portland. Your sacrifice won't be forgotten. Just kill some of those council bastards for us, Martinez replied. Over the next 2 days, 20 ships were left behind as their crews transferred to other vessels. Their fuel, ammunition, and spare parts were distributed to the fleet. It hurt to leave any ship behind, but it gave the others a better chance. Lieutenant Megan Torres led a group of destroyers that stayed behind to help with the transfers, then had to race to catch up with the main fleet. Her ships pushed their engines past the red line, risking explosion with every moment, but they made it, rejoining the fleet just hours before they reached the research station. The station was small, hidden in an asteroid field. It had been built in secret years ago to test dangerous new technologies away from populated areas. As the fleet approached, a single scientist's face appeared on their screens. Dr. Alex Grant looked like he hadn't slept in weeks. His hair stuck out in all directions and he had coffee stains on his shirt. "Are you people insane?" he demanded. "This gateway has never been tested. I was going to start with small probes, maybe eventually try an unmanned ship. You want to send 300 vessels through?" "Earth is dying," Ryan said simply. "We're out of options." Alex ran his hands through his messy hair. "The gateway creates a tunnel through quantum space. In theory, it can move you anywhere instantly. In practice, the tunnel is unstable. Ships might arrive damaged. They might arrive in pieces. They might not arrive at all. I can't guarantee anything. Can you open it?" Ryan asked. "Yes, but then open it. We're going through." Alex stared at Ryan for a long moment. Then he nodded. "All right, but you'll need to transfer all your ship's power to the gateway to make it large enough. That means you'll be defenseless if something goes wrong. Your weapons, shields, everything will be offline." "Do it," Ryan ordered. The fleet surrounded the research station. One by one, every ship connected power cables to the gateway structure. It was a massive ring 2 kilometers across, floating in space. As the power flowed into it, the ring began to glow with strange colors that hurt to look at. Inside the ring, space itself started to tear. Reality bent and twisted. The tunnel opened, showing a swirling vortex of light and darkness. It looked like a doorway to hell. "Gateway is stable," Alex called out. "As stable as it's going to get, anyway. You need to go through now before it collapses. Send 1 ship every 10 seconds. Any faster and the tunnel might destroy itself." Ryan opened a fleet-wide channel. "All ships, this is Clark. You know what we're flying into. You know the odds. I'm going first. Follow me if you're willing. For Earth, for humanity, for everyone we love." The USS Valiant disconnected from the gateway and moved forward. Ryan's crew was silent as they approached the swirling vortex. Ryan thought about Kate, about his children, about whether he'd ever see them again. "Into the tunnel," Ryan said. The Valiant entered the gateway. The universe went insane. Colors that shouldn't exist filled Ryan's vision. Up and down lost all meaning. Time seemed to move forward and backward at once. He heard screaming and realized it was his own voice. The ship shook so hard that metal groaned and panels burst from the walls. People were thrown from their seats. Blood floated in zero gravity as someone's nose broke against a console. Then suddenly it was over. The Valiant emerged into normal space. Alarms were blaring. Half the systems were offline, but they were alive. And according to the navigation system, they were in the Sol system. "They were home. Status report," Ryan shouted. "Hull damage on decks 4 and 5, Megan reported. "Reactor at 50%. Weapons offline. But we made it, Captain. We're home." Behind them, another ship came through the gateway. Then another. Some emerged intact. Some were on fire. One ship came through in pieces, its crew dead. But they kept coming. Ryan looked at his tactical screen and his blood went cold. The Council fleet was there, surrounding Earth. Thousands of ships. They were in the middle of bombarding the planet. But the Council wasn't expecting what came next. 300 human warships dropped out of impossible space directly behind their formation. The ships were damaged, some barely holding together, but they were home. And they were furious. "All ships, this is Clark," Ryan broadcast on every channel. "Earth is under attack. Our families are down there. No mercy, no prisoners. We end this now." The human fleet, running on emergency power and pure rage, charged into battle. On his command ship, Admiral Krath was watching Earth burn when his sensor officer started screaming. Ships! Human ships, behind us! 300 contacts! Krath spun around. That's impossible. The human fleet is trapped in deep space. But the sensors didn't lie. 300 warships had just appeared from nowhere, and they were already firing. The first missiles struck Krath's rear formation before they could react. Council ships exploded. More human ships poured out of what looked like a rip in space itself. They were attacking with everything they had. How did they do this? Krath demanded. They don't have gateway technology. But they did. Humanity had been hiding more than weapons. They'd been hiding their true capabilities. And now the Council was going to learn what happens when you back humanity into a corner. The battle became a chaos of explosions and weapon fire. The Council fleet, meant to be besieging Earth, was now caught between the lunar defenses and the returning human fleet. They were surrounded, and humanity was done being merciful. Admiral Lisa Bennett stood in the command center deep under Earth's surface, watching 300 red dots appear on the tactical screen behind the Council fleet. For a moment, she couldn't believe it. The fleet had returned. They had actually made it home. All defense forces, this is Bennett, she said into her comm. Our fleet has returned. Coordinate with Captain Clark's forces. We're going to crush these invaders between us. On the moon, General Chris Wade watched the battle unfold from his command post. The lunar surface had been turned into a fortress over the past week. Every crater held a railgun. Every valley hid missile batteries. The Council had been so focused on bombarding empty Earth cities that they hadn't noticed Wade preparing his trap. All lunar batteries open fire, Wade ordered. Target their capital ships, make every shot count. Massive railguns fired from the moon's surface. The projectiles were simple chunks of metal, but they moved at such high speeds that they hit like nuclear bombs. A Council battleship took a direct hit and broke in half. Another ship's shields collapsed and it started spinning out of control. Captain Ryan Clark's USS Valiant was barely holding together, but that didn't matter anymore. They were home. His family was somewhere below on Earth, and he was going to make sure they stayed safe. All weapons, fire at will, Ryan commanded. Target anything with a Council signature. The human fleet had lost ships coming through the gateway. Some hadn't made it at all. Others arrived so damaged they couldn't fight. But 220 ships were still combat ready, and they attacked with desperate fury. The Council fleet was completely unprepared. They had expected Earth to surrender or be destroyed. They hadn't planned for a two-sided battle. Their formations broke apart as they tried to defend against attacks from multiple directions. Admiral Krath watched his perfect siege turn into a nightmare. His ships were being destroyed faster than he could give orders. The humans were fighting like cornered animals, sacrificing their own vessels to take out larger Council ships. Regroup, Krath shouted. All ships, form defensive positions around the command carrier. But his orders came too late. The human ships were already among his fleet, firing at point-blank range. A human destroyer rammed itself into a Council cruiser, destroying both ships but clearing a path for other human vessels to advance. Lieutenant Megan Torres piloted her heavily damaged destroyer straight into the engine section of a Council battleship. She and her crew evacuated in escape pods seconds before impact. The battleship's reactor went critical and exploded, taking 3 other Council ships with it. In the underground command center, Kate Morrison was coordinating more than just the defense. She had spent 20 years studying alien technology, learning from it, improving it. Every trade agreement Earth signed included technology exchanges. Every diplomatic mission gathered information. Humanity hadn't been idle. General Bennett, activate the quantum disruptor network, Kate said. Lisa nodded. Do it. All around Earth, hidden satellites that the Council thought were disabled suddenly came back online. But they weren't defense satellites anymore. They had been modified with human-designed technology that the Council didn't know existed. The satellites sent out a specific frequency that interfered with the Council fleet's communications. Suddenly, Council ships couldn't talk to each other. Their coordinated attacks became individual ships fighting alone. Admiral Krath's command screen went dark. What's happening? Get communications back online. His technicians worked frantically, but nothing helped. The quantum disruption was too strong. Every council ship was now isolated, unable to coordinate with others. "This is impossible," Krath said. "They don't have this technology. We checked their systems. We monitored their development. How do they have quantum disruptors?" What Krath didn't understand was that humanity had been planning for betrayal since the day they joined the council. Some humans had trusted the aliens, but others remembered human history. They remembered colonization, betrayal, and conquest. They had prepared for this exact scenario. Lieutenant Sophie Warren led a team of 12 soldiers through the chaos of battle in a small stealth ship. Their mission was dangerous and probably suicidal, but someone had to do it. "Approaching the Council command carrier," Sophie said into her comm. "Beginning boarding procedures." The stealth ship, built using captured alien technology and improved with human engineering, slipped past the carrier's defenses. It attached to the hull like a parasite. Sophie and her team cut through the armor and entered the ship. Inside, they moved quickly through corridors filled with confused alien soldiers. The Council troops were trying to figure out why their communications weren't working. They didn't notice the human soldiers until it was too late. Sophie's team fought their way to the ship's central computer core. They weren't there to capture the ship or kill the crew. They had a different mission. "Plant the virus," Sophie ordered. One of her soldiers, a tech specialist named Carl, plugged a device into the computer system. It was a virus created specifically for Council systems, designed over 2 decades by human programmers who studied every piece of alien code they could find. The virus didn't just disable the ship. It spread through the Council fleet's quantum network, which was separate from their communications. Within seconds, it infected every Council ship, and then it did something terrible. It broadcasted everything. Every message, every order, every communication that had happened before the battle. The virus made it all public, sending it on every frequency that every ship could receive. Admiral Krath's voice came through, recorded from days earlier. "The human fleet has been dealt with. Their defensive forces are minimal. We'll divide Earth's resources as planned. The Kashari Dominion gets the fusion technology. The Vorketh Empire takes the rare minerals. The smaller species can have the humans themselves as workers." Another voice. "High Chancellor Vorath. Earth's military was too strong. We couldn't risk an open war. Better to trick them into sending their fleet away. Once Earth is conquered, the other Council species will see what happens to those who become too powerful." More recordings played. Council leaders discussing how to divide humanity's technology. Debates about whether to let some humans live or just eliminate them entirely. Casual conversations about treating Earth like conquered territory even before the attack began. The smaller alien species in the Council fleet heard these messages. Many of them hadn't known the full plan. They had been told Earth was dangerous, that humanity was planning to betray the Council. They had been lied to. Ships started breaking formation. The insectoid Chithari withdrew their vessels first. They had been friendly with humanity and hadn't wanted this war. The crystalline Zephyri followed. Then the plant-based Verdani. Within minutes, a third of the Council fleet was refusing to fight. Some species turned their weapons on the Vorketh and Kashari ships, angry at being manipulated. Admiral Krath watched his alliance falling apart. "No, all ships, continue the attack. This is a human trick." But nobody listened. The Vorketh and Keshari ships found themselves alone, facing the full power of Earth's forces and abandoned by their allies. Admiral Bennett saw the opportunity. "All forces concentrate fire on the Vorketh and Kashari vessels. Let the other species retreat. We're done with them." The human fleet, supported by lunar batteries and Earth's defense platforms, focused their attack. Vorketh battleships exploded. Kashari cruisers were torn apart. The species that had planned Earth's destruction were now the ones being destroyed. Captain Ryan Clark's ship was barely functioning, but he kept fighting. When his weapons ran out of ammunition, he used his ship as a battering ram. The Valiant crashed into a Kashari destroyer, both ships exploding in a ball of fire. Ryan and his crew evacuated just in time, escaping in pods. Admiral Krath realized he was losing. More than losing. He was being annihilated. His fleet had gone from 12,000 ships to barely 2,000, and those were scattered and broken. All remaining ships retreat, Krath ordered. Jump to hyperspace immediately. The surviving Vorkath and Kashari ships fled. They scattered in all directions, desperate to escape. The human fleet pursued them to the edge of the solar system, destroying stragglers. When it was over, the space around Earth was filled with debris. Wrecked ships floated everywhere, some human but mostly alien. 8,000 council vessels had been destroyed. The survivors had fled. Admiral Bennett allowed herself a moment of relief. Earth had survived, barely. Their casualties were terrible. Half of Ryan's returning fleet was gone. The orbital infrastructure was in ruins, but they had won. General Wade's voice came through her comm. "Admiral, we need to talk. The Council will come back. They can't let this defeat stand. We need to be ready." Lisa nodded, even though Wade couldn't see her. "I know, but next time we won't be the ones defending. We're done playing their game." Far above Earth, in the debris field, Kate Morrison's voice broadcasted on all channels. It was a message meant for the entire galaxy. "This is Dr. Kate Morrison of Earth. The Galactic Council betrayed us. They tried to destroy us. They failed. We're withdrawing from the Council, effective immediately. Any Council species found in human-claimed space will be destroyed without warning. We're done being your victims. This is your only warning." 6 days after the battle ended, Captain Ryan Clark stood in a hospital room on Earth holding his wife's hand. Kate had worked non-stop during the invasion, barely eating or sleeping. When it was over, she had collapsed from exhaustion. Now she was recovering, and Ryan refused to leave her side. "We won," Kate said quietly, her voice tired. "But it doesn't feel like winning." Ryan understood. Yes, Earth had survived, but the cost was terrible. 20 million people had died when the Council bombed the surface before everyone could evacuate. 3,000 ships were destroyed. Entire cities were gone. The orbital stations that took decades to build were now just debris. "The Council will come back," Ryan said. "This was just one fleet. They have hundreds of species, thousands of worlds. We can't win a long war." Kate squeezed his hand. "Then we don't fight a long war. We change the rules." She pulled up files on her datapad, even though the doctor said she should be resting. The files showed plans, massive plans that would change everything. "For 20 years we prepared for the Council to betray us," Kate explained. "We have weapon systems they don't know about. We have ships in hidden locations. And we have this," she showed him a star map. Dozens of systems were marked in blue. Colony ships. We built them in secret, hidden in the outer solar system. Each one carries 10 million people in cryosleep. They've been waiting for this moment. Ryan stared at the map. "You're talking about abandoning Earth?" "No," Kate said. "I'm talking about expanding beyond Earth. The Council thinks we're stuck in one system. They think we're weak because we only have one planet. But these colony ships are already launching. In 5 years, humanity will control 50 star systems. In 10 years, 200. We'll spread so far that the Council can't possibly attack all of us." Admiral Lisa Bennett had the same conversation with General Chris Wade in the rebuilt command center. The general looked at the colony ship data with a troubled expression. "This is a massive undertaking," Wade said. "Moving hundreds of millions of people, setting up new worlds. The resources required are already allocated," Lisa interrupted. "This wasn't a backup plan. This was always the plan. We knew the Council would try something eventually. We've been preparing to leave this solar system since the day we joined them." Wade shook his head in amazement. "So what happens now?" "Now we make sure the Council never threatens us again," Lisa said. "We have intelligence on every species that attacked us. Their military bases, their colonies, their trade routes. We're going to hit them all." Wade raised an eyebrow. "You want to invade Council space?" "Not invade," Lisa corrected. "Punish. We're not conquerors. But we're going to make sure every species that attacked Earth loses something valuable. They need to understand that betraying humanity has consequences." 2 weeks later, human strike forces hit Council military installations across 12 different systems. They didn't attack civilian targets or homeworlds, but military bases, weapon factories, and supply depots were destroyed. The attacks were fast, brutal, and carefully planned. Lieutenant Sophie Warren, promoted after her mission to infect the Council fleet, led one of these strikes. Her team hit a Vorketh weapons facility on a moon in the Kepler system. They destroyed the entire complex and left before reinforcements could arrive. Target destroyed, Sophie reported. No civilian casualties. Moving to extraction point. These strikes continued for months. The Council tried to respond, but their alliance was falling apart. The species that had been manipulated into attacking Earth were angry at the Vorketh and Keshari. Some refused to fight at all. Others actively worked against their former allies. In the underground command center, Kate Morrison addressed representatives from 12 alien species through secure quantum channels. These were the smaller species, the ones who had been lied to, the ones who didn't want war with humanity. "We're forming a new alliance," Kate told them. "Not like the Council where big species control everything. A true alliance of equals. We'll defend each other, share technology, and make decisions together. But there's one rule: honesty. Anyone who betrays the alliance gets treated like the Council. Are you interested?" One by one, the alien representatives agreed. They had seen what the Council became. They wanted something better. The Terran Alliance was born. 5 years passed. Commander Ryan Clark, now an admiral, stood on the bridge of the UTS Retribution. The ship was new, built with technology that combined human innovation with ideas from the Terran Alliance species. It was faster, stronger, and more advanced than anything the old Council had. Around him in the fleet were ships from 15 different species. Humans, yes, but also Chitauri, Zephyri, Verdani, and others, species that chose cooperation over domination. The Terran Alliance controlled 112 star systems now. New colonies were being established constantly. "Admiral, we're approaching the border of Old Council space," his tactical officer reported. Ryan looked at the view screen. Out there, somewhere, was the remains of the Galactic Council. They still existed, but they were shadows of their former power. The Vorketh and Keshari species had fought each other for resources. Other species had left the Council entirely. The Great Alliance that once controlled thousands of worlds now barely controlled a few hundred. "Any signs of Council ships?" Ryan asked. "Negative, sir. They're staying on their side of the border." Ryan nodded. The Council had learned. After 5 years of humanity's retribution, they understood that attacking Earth had been their biggest mistake. They left human space alone now. They had no choice. On Earth, Kate Morrison stood in front of a crowd of diplomats from across the Terran Alliance. She was older now, with gray in her hair, but her eyes were still sharp. "The old Council sent us an official message today," Kate announced. "They want to negotiate. They're offering reparations, technology exchanges, and peace treaties. They want us to rejoin them," the crowd murmured. Kate held up her hand for silence. "I've deleted the message without responding," she said. Some diplomats looked shocked. "Shouldn't we at least consider it?" one asked. Kate shook her head. "The Council had their chance for peace. They chose betrayal. They tried to eliminate us. We don't forget that. Humanity and our allies have moved beyond the Council. We've built something better. We don't need them anymore." She looked around the room at the various alien species present. "The galaxy is changing. The old ways where strong species dominated weak ones are ending. The Council thought they could destroy us because we were new and small. They learned that strength isn't just about size or age. It's about determination, innovation, and the willingness to stand together." In another part of Earth, in a small apartment in the rebuilt city of New Boston, a mother read her daughter a bedtime story. The girl was 7 years old, born just after the war. "Mommy, is it true that aliens tried to hurt us?" the girl asked. The mother thought carefully about how to answer. "Some aliens made a bad choice," she said. "They thought we were weak. But humans are never weak when we work together. And now we have lots of alien friends who are good people." "Like Miss Vera from school?" the girl asked. Vera was a Chitauri teacher. "Exactly like Miss Vera," the mother smiled. "The bad aliens learned that trying to hurt others only makes things worse for everyone. Now we're all trying to be friends instead." The girl thought about this. "Good. I like having alien friends." The mother kissed her daughter's forehead. This was the future that all those who died had fought for. A galaxy where her daughter could grow up with alien friends, where species worked together instead of trying to destroy each other. 10 years after the betrayal, Admiral Ryan Clark stood at a memorial on the moon. The memorial listed every human who died during the invasion, 20 million names carved into black stone. He found his brother's name there. Lieutenant Marcus Clark, killed when his ship was destroyed in the first wave of fighting. "We did it. Ryan said quietly to the memorial. Earth is safe. Humanity is spreading across the stars. The Council can't touch us anymore. I hope you can see that wherever you are. A hand touched his shoulder. Kate stood beside him. Their children were grown now, serving on Alliance ships of their own. The couple had survived the war, survived the rebuilding, and grown old together. Do you ever wonder if we went too far? Kate asked. The strikes, the colonies, the Alliance. We completely changed the galactic order. Ryan thought about it. The Council wanted to enslave us. Billions of humans would have died or lived in chains. Instead, we survived and helped create something better. No, I don't think we went too far. I think we did exactly what we needed to do. Far across the galaxy in what remained of Council space, High Chancellor Vorath stood before what was left of the Council assembly. The serpentine alien looked old and tired. His species, the Kashari, had lost 3 colonies and half their military in conflicts with humanity and the Alliance. We made a grave error, Vorath said to the assembly. We underestimated Earth. We thought them weak because they were new to space. We forgot that some species are most dangerous when they're cornered. What do we do now? Another counselor asked. Vorath looked at the star map showing the expanding Terran Alliance. The blue zones grew larger every year while Council territory shrank. We survive, Vorath said. We avoid human space. We rebuild what we've